So, this is going to be a follow-up to one of the previous videos I made. I pretty much spent about 35 minutes talking about why I lost interest in gaming, why I don't care about gaming as much as I did when I was younger, or even a few years ago. My interest in gaming has deteriorated a lot over time, and I know that's hard to believe considering the fact that I have a gaming channel on YouTube that has over 2,000 subscribers. But I pretty much talked about my grievances with the video game industry, with the $60 games with microtransactions, with the day one DLCs and season passes up the every single game these days has season passes in them. It's just crazy. To the point where the minimum that you'll spend on a game is about $110, which is just insane. There's never really a game that comes out where you pay $60 for it and you actually feel like you get a complete, full experience. You just don't. These games do not exist anymore. They haven't existed for years. There is yet to be a game that comes out where you pay $60 and you get all the content in the game. It just doesn't happen anymore. But I pretty much talked about all that in that video. If you want to check out that video, you can check it out if you want. But that video, I talked about, I kind of touched upon the fact that I think that there's going to be another video game crash eventually. I think it's going to happen sometime within the next 5 years. The video game industry as a whole is going to go bust, and the market is going to straight up collapse. Now, I touched upon that. I talked about how I mentioned that I feel this way, that I think this is going to happen, but I didn't really talk about that as much as I talked about my overall grievances with the video game industry and gaming as a whole. So this video is going to be specifically towards that, towards why a video game crash is imminent, and why the main cause of this potential video game crash to happen is going to be the PC gaming community. Now, I know what a lot of people are thinking right now. Oh, that's crazy, that's absurd. You're exaggerating so hard, you're just saying this to get attention. But honestly, it's the truth. If you think about it for a second, okay? All you ignorant fanboys out there, just hear me out for 1 second, okay? Because I know no matter what I say, you guys are just going to dismiss me as a troll, be like, oh, you know, he's just a troll. He shouldn't be taken seriously, because you see, this is what happens when people have discussions about video games. When someone brings up an idea or someone makes a point that they disagree with, what the gaming community tends to do, especially on YouTube, is that you say something that they don't like, that they don't agree with. No matter how well defended it is, they're just like, oh, they're just a troll. You know, look at the dislikes on their channel. Look at all that stuff. That they have to be a troll, and everything they say just, you know, can't be taken seriously. They're pretty much moral equivalents to the people on the left in politics, where if you say something they don't like, they're like, oh, you know, they're a racist, obviously, or sexist, or a white nationalist, a member of the alt-right. You know, you name it. People. Left-wing social justice warriors always like to label people, especially people who they do not agree with. It's easier. It's easier to just make these claims, make these accusations against people, than actually having rational discussion. And that's pretty much what these PC gamers do on the internet. They are morally equivalent to social justice warriors. They use the same exact tactics as the social justice warriors do. And I think it's funny how these PC gamers out there, I see a lot of PC gaming channels that make their gaming videos, they make their anti-console video, you know, they make their anti-console gamer videos. Any console gamer they could find out there that makes a video they don't like or they don't agree with, they spend about a half hour, 45 minutes, an hour, and yes, even 4 hours. Because that's what Top Hats and Champagne did with me. He made a 4-hour video dedicated to yours truly, and it was pathetic. It was downright pathetic. And I'm trying to figure out, why do people spend so much time out of their lives dedicated to one person on the internet who says something that they don't agree with? especially when it's something that, in the grand scheme of things, while gaming is something that we all love and that we all enjoy, in the grand scheme of things, it's not that important. I mean, yes, if the video game industry collapses, it will be catastrophic, not just for the entertainment industry as a whole, for quality of life. Quality of life will definitely deteriorate if gaming is gone, because gaming is a huge part of everyone's lives, and if the gaming industry collapses and loses its mainstream presence in the entertainment field, then everyone's going to suffer. More specifically, the economy is going to suffer because of all the jobs that will be lost. People are losing jobs already in the gaming industry, which is why I think we're headed towards a crash. All these different studios are closing down. People who made Sleeping Dogs recently closed down. People who made Fable games recently closed down. And people from studios that make relatively successful games are somehow closing down, which is never a good sign at all. It would be one thing if the game did absolutely every single game they made was crap, then of course it makes sense for the studio to shut down. Especially with THQ, they made a lot of terrible financial decisions, and that led to their closing. But what I'm talking about are studios that are closing down that actually make successful games. Not a good sign at all. But the point I'm trying to make is that people seem to dedicate so much of their time to something that, in the grand scheme of things, like I said, does not mean that much. At least compared to real issues that actually matter. You know what I mean? So why do people insist on spending so much time out of their lives dedicated to making videos on individuals that say stuff that they don't agree with, that they just simply disagree with? And most of the time, when they make these videos, they don't actually do a good job defending their points or actually countering what they say. They're just like, oh, this person's obviously a troll. This person doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. This person is a moron. They actually resort more to personal insults and actually countering the actual points they make. People like Rags, people like Top Hats, these are the biggest offenders of this. The point I'm trying to make is that these people are cancer. But people are trying to... what was I trying to say? Oh, yeah. The point I'm trying to make, okay, and the point that people are waiting for me to get at, is how are PC gamers contributing to the downfall of the gaming industry? How can PC gamers cause a video game crash? Aren't PC gamers the most consumer-friendly people? Aren't they the most anti bad business practices? Like, they always label themselves as the champions of anti-big business and of pro-consumerism, right? They label themselves as the champions of pro-consumerism, right? Except they're actually, whether they know it or not, they're actually contributing to the downfall of the gaming industry. Why is this? Well, I think one of the biggest indicators of this is the fact that PC gamers are contributing to the fact that gaming is going to potentially lose its level of mainstream in the entertainment field. How is this happening? Well, it's pretty simple, and I think the biggest indication of this is when it comes to graphics, right? PC gamers always talk about graphics. They always talk about how, oh, PS4 is extremely underpowered, Xbox One's extremely underpowered, and the reason why these games come out and are is because consoles are obviously holding them back, and they don't reach their full potential because of the PC. They said this when it came to Watch Dogs. They said this when it came to other games. It's just simply not true. Because if you think about it, while I guess theoretically in a perfect world, on paper it sounds like a good idea to have it where all games, every single game that comes out, reaches its highest potential and has no graphical limitations. In a perfect ideal world, that sounds great. nobody would ever be against that in their right mind until you actually think about it for a second. Because on paper, Marxism and communism sounds great. You know, everyone is equal, everyone is, you know, all that except it's not true. When it's actually implemented, that's when the problems start. Because anybody who ever would read the Communist Manifesto before knowing the actual result of communism would actually think that, hey, this actually sounds good. You know, the bourgeoisie are mistreating the proletariat. They're taking advantage of the proletariat. And the proletariat pretty much has no rights at all. And their lives are being indirectly controlled by by the bourgeoisie. And the solution to this is communism, except when communism is actually implemented, we know that that actually isn't true. This can be applied to the scenario that I'm talking about right now with PC gamers. They always complain about games on the consoles that run at 1080p, or they run at 900p, 60 frames per second, you know, with Battlefield 1. Oh, why wasn't it 1080p? Or these other games that aren't to their graphical standards. They talk about how this is terrible and how consoles are holding the gaming industry back, except when you realize that consoles are actually the reason why gaming is still alive today. If consoles are gone, then gaming is gone. Whether you like to admit it or not, well, it won't be... Gaming will never be gone, okay? That's a bit of an exaggeration. That's not what I meant to say. What I meant to say is that the gaming industry will suffer greatly if consoles are gone. More than if the gaming industry would suffer if PC gaming was theoretically gone, which neither scenario would be a good thing for the gaming industry. Let me make that clear. I'm not trying to advocate for the abolition of PC gaming, for PC gaming to go bust, and for PC gaming to not exist, because PC gaming, whether I like to admit it or not, has its role in the gaming industry and the gaming economy. It has its role. And it ultimately, for the most part, positively contributes to the gaming industry, right? I'm not trying to make a case against PC gaming as a whole. I am making a case against PC gamers who have unrealistic expectations about how the industry is going to go forward. Because they're the ones currently right now that are on the Xbox Scorpio and the PlayStation 4 Pro at the moment. They are the ones that are shitting on it. But they are the reasons why these systems exist in the first place. I just think that's funny. Don't you think that's really funny? I do. Because they talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. They laugh at the fanboys. They laugh at JTech TV for talking great about the PS4 Pro. They laugh at those people for buying a PS4 Pro. They laugh at those people for thinking that the PS4 is a good idea. They laugh at the people like Crap Gamer that praise the Xbox Scorpio. But yet, they are the reason why those systems exist in the first place. If there weren't PC gamers out there that moaned and complained all the time about games not being graphically to their standards, these consoles would not have existed. So I think it's funny how PC gamers are bitching about these consoles when they are the reason why these consoles exist in the first place. So any PC gamers out there that make videos bashing the Scorpio and bashing the PS4 Pro are pathetic. And this isn't me defending the PS4 Pro or Xbox Scorpio, because I hate both of them. These systems have no reason to exist. Just to appease PC gamers that are just going to about it anyway. PC gamers are never satisfied. Ever. They always knock on the consoles. They talk about how terrible the consoles are and how they're holding back the gaming industry. When they put out these unrealistic expectations, and when the market reacts to these unrealistic expectations, hell is going to break loose. The gaming industry is going to go bust. Because the Scorpio and PS4 Pro isn't going to benefit anybody. This is not the future of gaming. Having consoles come out every few years instead of every 5 or 6 years. That is only going to hurt the gaming industry, because guess what? less people are going to buy consoles if consoles are coming out every 2 or 3 years. And I know people are going to be like, well, this isn't a new console generation, it's an in-between generation. But I bet you there's going to be at least one game out there that's going to be Scorpio exclusive. I bet you. It's going to happen. And it's going to be pathetic. It's going to be downright pathetic. And PC gamers are going to laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh. Be like, ha 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 ha. This game is only playable on the Scorpio. Ha 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 ha. But meanwhile, they're the reason why this exists in the first place. And we talk about like how Microsoft is evil and how the consoles are evil by having this. But they're the ones who are the reasons why this exists in the first place. So, PC gamers are not contributing positively to the gaming industry when it comes to their unrealistic expectations about how consoles are supposed to operate, when they should just focus on their own system, on their own platform. I don't know why they have to bash on consoles so much. If PC gaming is so great, why don't you just stick to your PC and let console players be? Let them play on their consoles, because there are plenty of people who enjoy playing on consoles, more so than PC. Why do you think that every single AAA game, every huge game that comes out on all platforms, is more successful on one system alone, on one console alone, than the PC? This happened with Battlefield 1. Both the PS4 version alone and Xbox One version alone outsold the PC version. And all of these different all these huge games that come out on all platforms, including Fallout 4, including Skyrim, including all these PC-friendly games, always sell better on the console. So, in theory, you people are saying, well, it's going to be such a great thing when consoles fail, or if consoles fail, because if consoles fail, first of all, that's never going to happen, I don't think. But if it does, it's going to not be a very good thing at all. See, why I don't really necessarily think that consoles are ever going to die. I do think that the console gaming in general is going to suffer because of PC gaming. I do think that. And I know PC gamers are going to leave a comment being like, well, if consoles did die, how is that going to lead to a gaming crash? Well, I just said that because consoles are more mainstream than PCs. Whether you like to admit it or not, it's still the truth. So you can say whatever the hell you want about, oh, it's not true. Somehow, using your pseudo-economics, somehow PC gaming is bigger than console gaming. Okay, sure, I already disproved that, but sure, even if that was true, which it's not true at all, actually. So I'm not even going to entertain that theory at all. I'm not going to even entertain it because it's bullshit. I already debunked it in a previous video I made. So fuck that bullshit. But besides the fact that consoles are more mainstream than PC, which is the truth, it is. And to add on to that, in a world where there's only PC gaming, because PC gamers talk about how this would be a great thing if there was only PC gaming, and that somehow the gaming industry would not collapse because of this. Well, most of the people, if consoles were to be gone, if Sony and Microsoft decide they weren't going to manufacture consoles anymore, most of the people would not even bother going to PC. They just quit gaming altogether. Because PC gaming is, objectively speaking, more complicated, more expensive, and more of a hassle than it is to play on a console. It's just the truth. So if consoles were to go, or alternatively, if consoles were to become more PC gamer friendly, the gaming industry in general would just fail. It would collapse. On top of all of the bad anti-consumer business practices that people are starting to just get enough of. I've known plenty of people who just quit gaming, or maybe not quit gaming, but put less money into gaming, if that makes any sense, or just game a lot less than they used to because of all these bullshit business practices. And on top of this, when PC gamers are making very, 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 very unrealistic expectations towards consoles, and how consoles are supposed to be upgradable, how consoles are supposed to cater more towards PC gamers, it's just absurd, and it's going to contribute to the downfall of console gaming. It's going to contribute to the downfall of the gaming industry as a whole. And if the gaming industry experiences another crash, we can thank PC gamers for that.